Hello, everybody. This is Chris from Big Talk with Chris and Gregg. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's already listened to our Part 1 episode on movie soundtracks. Before we get started with Part 2, just want to remind you guys you can get in touch with us on Instagram at BigTalkCG. Also, shoot us an email, bigtalkcg@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your comments. Let us know what your favorite soundtracks are to movies. And, do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Just let us know. Thank you very much and enjoy Part 2. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming back for Part 2 of our soundtrack episodes. We didn't want to go too long on that first one, so this is going to be the start of our Part 2. Gregg, let's go ahead and just get to it. Let's not dilly-dally. Let's not dilly-dally.
I want to dilly-dally.
I don't want to.
No.
You can dilly your dally on your own time.
Fine, but on our podcast time, no. All right, guys. So, you know what? I want to start off with a soundtrack from a movie which I absolutely 1,000% love. The movie's called Boogie Nights from the 90s. And it is an fun comic drama movie about someone who is making it in the 70s and turns into the 80s, about the lifestyle in Los Angeles, meaning the San Fernando Valley, about a guy who starts off as a dishwasher, turns into a porn star, and has mishaps and fools around way too much and has to start back from the bottom and start his way up again. Boogie Nights. A few awesome songs from the soundtrack, which I absolutely love. One of them is called Magnet and Steel, Walter Edgar. Love that song. I can't tell you how much that song means to me. It's so killer. Another song from there, which I do love from the soundtrack, is Night Ranger's Sister Christian. Now, Sister Christian and another song, Rick Springfield's Jesse's Girl, is pretty much into one scene where they're doing a drug exchange, and the guy who's doing it just loves music, and he's just playing some songs, and the song he plays is Night Ranger, and then it clicks over and does Rick Springfield's Jesse's Girl. Man, that combination in that scene and that 10 minutes that the whole episode is just killer. A few other hits from the soundtrack is ELO's Living Thing. Another song which I absolutely love, Fooled Around and Fell in Love from Elvin Bishop. And Boogie Shoes from Casey and the Sunshine Band. Those are probably the main songs from this movie that I absolutely love, and love those songs today and love them in the movie.
Now, when you are listening to the radio or whatever, those songs come on, did they stand alone? I mean, obviously they stand alone. Those are all good songs. I know them all. I've only seen the movie once or twice, so I don't have that relationship with the songs in the movie. But when you listen to those, do they bring you back to those scenes, bring you back to that movie, bring you, to that time?
Definitely. There's just a lot of, like you said, those songs, not only I can remember them in the movie specifically, but when I think about them or hear them today on the radio, I just absolutely love them. So I get 50-50 on if for somehow it pops up in my mind with listening to them, or I could just, enjoy the song as a regular single of today. So how about you? What's the first movie you want to talk about?
See, so that movie, you have the songs, the relationship takes you back, all that kind of stuff. I got one right here that the movie, I love the movie. The movie is called Maximum Overdrive. It is a Stephen King movie. I believe it's the only movie that he directed. Stars Emilio Estevez. Yeah. It's about basically all machines coming to life. The semi-trucks, the soda machine. There's a scene where the soda machine starts shooting sodas out at people. The lawnmowers are chasing kids around after, baseball game. And it plots around like a pit stop, like a gas station pit stop for semi trucks where they go to stop, and they got to figure out what are we going to do with these trucks that are just circling around. They start gassing them up, trying to get them out of there, so on and so forth. When I think all these songs, so the album is by AC/DC, every song in the movie is AC/DC.
Yes.
It's the closest thing at that time that they had to a greatest hits album.
Right.
It's called Who Made Who. And when I hear the songs, I don't think of the movie. So it's kind of the opposite of what you were just talking about. But the track list on this thing is killer. It's killer. Who Made Who, You Shook Me All Night Long. It's probably one of their best known tracks. Sink the Pink, Hell's Bells, Shake Your Foundations. Those are just some of the highlights on that album. One song I want to talk about, two songs actually. One's called DT. Now DT is just an instrumental, and it is just a great song. I actually, knowing we were going to do this episode a couple of days ago, I said, I got to talk about Who Made Who. I got to talk about it. Me and my brother watched this movie tons when we were young. I had a friend of mine had the tape. I got a dub copy. Remember back in the day, we've talked about it before. We make dub copies, tape trading, with your friends and stuff.
Yes.
I was always hesitant about loaning out my tape. You make a copy. No, give me your blank copy. I'll make the copy for you.
See, that was
so. I had the dub copy. Who Made Who, but DT, great instrumental. And then here's the funny thing about AC/DC. I talked about it on our episode 1 when we were talking about debut albums. That one of the first rock albums I ever heard was Back in Black. Mm-hmm. So from the get-go, I only thought AC/DC had one singer.
Right.
One singer. And I did not know that Bon Scott was ever a part. I thought it was always Brian Johnson was the singer, with his voice, his throat full of gravel kind of voice, just amazing. Bon Scott, there's a song on there called Ride On. And when I heard this song, I was like, who's this? Is someone else in the band singing? It wasn't until years later. I mean, how am I going to research this? There's no internet. I can't just look it up. Who sings this? What's going on? So it took me a while to find out what was going on with this band. Man, that album just stands alone as, like I said, the closest thing to like a greatest hits album. But the movie's great. I love the movie. The concept is good. Stephen King, you can't miss. The album just rocks from the beginning to the end. I know you're familiar with probably every song that's on there. And, they end the album with, For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, which was, I think, the third album they did with Brian Johnson. I can't remember if it was the third or the second album.
I think it was the second.
It was the second. And, man, they closed their shows. I've seen them live.
Yeah.
They closed their show with that. Took my wife to that concert. She said it was the best concert she's ever been to. And, man, what a way to end an album. What a way to end a show. Great.
So wasn't Who Made Who the only new song for that soundtrack?
I do believe that was the only, which is kind of befitting. You think about who made who, who made who, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of goes with the movie. Like the machines, we made the machines, but the machines made us by being able to allow us to do what we do. So
Correct.
Who really made who? Is it a chicken and the egg? I don't know, but whatever.
Chicken,
egg. So that kind of flips it, kind of the opposite of what you were saying. I don't need the movie to enjoy the soundtrack, or I don't need that relationship. I'm not saying you need it to enjoy it, but you have that relationship between soundtrack and movie that kind of makes it even better, raises it up a level. Where this one, I can just listen to it and be like, if the movie never existed, I'd probably still enjoy the album.
Right, definitely on that one, on this soundtrack, correct. One other song I want to bring up is from the Godzilla soundtrack. This was just the single from P. Diddy and Jimmy Page did a song called "Come With Me," and what was so different about it was they were using some of Kashmir, Led Zeppelin song, on it to incorporate in that song, and it worked from the moment I heard it on the radio or saw a video for it. I thought, man, it really worked. Wasn't definitely my style because of P. Diddy rapping over it or singing over it, however you want to say. But it was still worked for me. So I really liked that song, and that was the most memorable part of that Godzilla movie. Now, I don't think this movie was part of the big franchise where they have nowadays, where they have X amount of Godzilla movies. I think it was a standalone. They just kind of tried something different for them. But it definitely was a good song for that soundtrack. Now,
I think you just broke your own record for the most times you've said P. Diddy in your life with 2. You know who he is, so that's good. That's good. Hey, so we definitely, I think we've shown that we're just not a one-trick pony. We don't just listen to rock. We listen to, a lot of different stuff. And when it comes to movies, we're able to even broaden ourselves even more. And just, I've mentioned before, I used to go to my grandma's, hang out with my grandma, watching wrestling with my grandma, watching MTV sometimes with my grandma. But one of the movies that she kind of introduced me to was an old movie from 1952.
Oh, all right.
Singing in the Rain.
Oh.
Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, Debbie Reynolds. It's a musical. It's a comedy. It is in color. So all you people that are afraid of watching a movie that's, an old movie, it's not black and white, it's color. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, I love this movie. Every time I watch it, I laugh. I know the songs. I'm not sitting here singing in my living room like it's a karaoke show. But, I'm with them. I'm with them. There's romantic songs. There's comedic songs. There's a scene called Make 'Em Laugh. It's a song that goes in there where they're kind of doing these, dance and like stunts, I guess you would call them at the time, kind of encapsulating the time. Of course, there's the title song, Singing in the Rain. So the concept of the movie, just to give you context for this next song I'm going to talk about, is basically the concept of the movie is it takes place back in the 20s, and they're going from, it's the time when they're going from silent movies to talking movies. They call them talkies. So they're doing these, they're no longer just be able to act out, now they have to talk. So they're going to a lot of speech coaches. And one of the scenes is Gene Kelly's character, the main character, is in there with his speech coach, and they're doing this like, Moses supposes his toes is roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. Like they're trying to, and that's a song, and it's just all that alliteration. It's comedic. It's funny watching these guys dance. Gene Kelly, great dancer. Better than Fred Astaire, in my opinion. If you know who he is, good for you. If you don't, look him up. Him and Ginger Rogers, great from even before this movie was made. Great movie. I just cannot say enough good things about this movie. It's the closest thing I can think of as far as musicals are concerned to be a perfect movie. Beginning to end, we got love, romance, comedy, betrayal, romance, parties, productions, costumes, everything. It's just great, and it's such a fun movie to watch. The music goes along with it, just amazing. And Debbie Reynolds, cute little Debbie Reynolds, is cute as a button in this movie, and her and Gene Kelly, their characters just have such great chemistry. And you're not going to hear any of these songs on the radio. You have to search for them. You have to dig for them to find them. But I definitely would say watch this movie, guys. You're going to enjoy it. It's a great watch. It's a great listen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Probably once, but not memorable. Did you say better than Gene Kelly?
Gene Kelly is better than Fred Astaire. Yeah, I said it.
You sure?
I don't regret it.
Are you sure?
Right? Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dance off. Where's Olivia? Dance off.
Don't make me pull out the videos. I got some moves.
All right. Next movie I want to talk about is a Tom Cruise movie. Wasn't his greatest, but was a good movie, good soundtrack too, called Cocktail, where he was a bartender / stud muffin. Him and some other bartender hit it off. In New York, I think. They go and they have some fun, and they start making some drinks. And one guy says, "Hey, you know what? Come to the islands and make some cocktails. We'll make a lot of money, and we can live on the beach and go from there." And there's a little romance, some drama. But Kokomo from the Beach Boys was one of these songs that just stood out so much whenever I think of the movie Cocktail.
And that song they made that it was almost like a comeback for them. They hadn't done much new material in a while, if I remember correctly. And that song, I think it may have been a number one hit.
Oh, I think
it was a number one hit. And that movie is just 80s encapsulated. It really just is like the neon,
Yes.
The cocktails, the drinking, the Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I don't think he's running in this movie. But it won't be the only time we bring up Tom Cruise. We got some other Tom Cruise coming up, so be patient,
around.
people. Stick around, teaser. But Cocktail, yeah, I'm going to agree with you 100%. I agree with you. That movie, that song,
Yeah.
Kokomo, I mean, like we said, it was a big comeback for the Beach Boys, and you like to see, groups like that be able to make a comeback like that, and especially with a number one hit in a movie.
Definitely.
It was great. Speaking of, well, I guess not of comebacks, but speaking of another artist that really defines an era of the 80s would be Prince and his movie Purple Rain.
Oh, man.
Now, this, obviously, he was the star of the movie Purple Rain, main character, and this album, so it's all him. And, everybody knows the Purple Rain. Everybody knows Let's Go Crazy. Everybody knows When Doves Cry. The other songs on there are pretty killer, too, dude. I mean, you got I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, Darling Nikki. Darling Nikki, a funny story about, doing my research. I read, we had talked about it briefly in our first episode, episode 1. Go back, debut albums. If you haven't listened to it yet, episode 1. Tipper Gore started a group called the PMRC, the Parents Music Resource Center, I believe it was called.
Okay, yes.
And she's the wife of former Vice President Al Gore. And she tells the story, or the story is that she walked in on her 11-year-old daughter listening to that song, Darling Nikki, which is about masturbation, sexual overtones. And she's like, oh my God, what's my daughter listening to? Within a year, PMRC started. And that's just, I guess shows the power of music. I mean, a little overboard. Helped sell millions of records for
That's
a lot of artists.
definitely-
I mean,
Yeah.
kind of backfired on her if you think about it, putting those stickers on everything.
Right? Because then people wanted those albums with that sticker on it and stuff.
But that Purple Rain album, man, when it comes to title tracks, a song that's named after the movie Purple Rain, I don't know if it gets any better. That might be, if you're gonna make a list, that could be top of your list. That just song is a perfect song.
The whole soundtrack or the whole album is you're right, is really killer. Good songs, good singles. The deep cuts are killer. It goes great with the movie. I mean, if you watch the movie without knowing the soundtrack, then you go back and hear the soundtrack, or hear the soundtrack first, then go watch the movie. Either way, great movie. I mean, I do remember seeing it. I do remember checking it out. It definitely was style, but the Prince, man, he knew how to wail on the guitar, man. I think that's what more attracted me to it.
I kind of, it's unfortunate that, in his passing, when you listen to people talk about anybody that's ever seen him live in concert, whenever they list their top concerts they've ever been to, if you've seen him, he's on that list of like top 5. Okay, Prince, what are the other 4?
Yeah.
It's almost always you hear someone talk about it. And, I never got to see him, but yeah, he could just go watch. I don't know if you ever watch it. You can go to YouTube. And after you're done listening to this, maybe go to YouTube and just look up the Prince Super Bowl show.
Oh.
You'll just see what an amazing artist he is, and just the kind of guy he is. I heard someone telling a story about it once that, it was in Tampa Bay. The Super Bowl was in Tampa Bay, and he woke up that morning, and they called him up, and they're like, oh, man, I don't know what we're going to do about the show, and it's raining, anything we can do to help you, make the show better, anything we can do for you. And he said, yeah, can you make it rain harder? And what perfect to play Purple Rain in the rain.
Right, in the rain.
That just kind of shows like the optimism of someone special like Prince. And
Right.
He was definitely a loss in the music industry. But, he left us Purple Rain, and that's something, we can always listen into.
I think there was a lot of songs he left us that people are into from the beginning of his career to where he ended off. But Purple Rain is definitely a staple.
Oh, yeah.
In my thoughts of what Prince is. Another song I want to bring up is from one of my favorite bands, Guns N' Roses, You Could Be Mine, which is from the Terminator 2 soundtrack. I think this song was done or released before Use Your Illusion 1 or 2 came out. So we got a teaser of what the sound of the next Guns N' Roses album was going to be. And it did not disappoint. That album, that song is amazing. I still love that song. I can crank it and hear it and rock out to it still today. Great song. Love it.
Oh, yeah. That came out. I don't know which one. I can't remember if it was on Use Your Illusion 1 or 2. Number 2, Gregg is telling me through the glass. The thing I remember the most, I think that song run at the end on the credits. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna tell you what better way to promote that movie, dude. That music video was all over the place on MTV. You could not get away with it, you couldn't get away from it. It was on all the time, and those are not complaints. Those are thanks, because that video was great. The song is great, incorporating live footage of them playing with clips from the movie.
Yeah,
it's a banger.
I
for you
think
young kids.
Arnold did a few scenes with for the video.
Yeah, some cameo action.
Yeah, that worked for them. I think they were walking into the Roxy or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think they walk in and then they walk out, and he's like, it shows like the Terminator vision. Like this one's okay, this one's okay, this one. And then like Slash walks up at the end. He's like, this guy's trouble.
That is things you remember.
I agree with you. It's always a good way, and I thought you brought it up before, where sometimes groups are in between albums, but they still have something that they want to put out, or they have something they want to be creative. They're artists, and so good soundtracks, motion pictures are a good way for those artists, those musicians, to get stuff out that they want to get out. I don't want to wait till the next album cycle. I don't want to wait another year to get this out. This is killer right now. Let's put it out. What movie can we attach it to? Whether or not it's made for a movie or not, I think that one may have been made for that movie. I'm not sure. It goes perfectly with it.
Yeah.
But it's a great way for those artists to get that out. And, we're definitely benefiting from, the fruits of their labor. So that's great. Great for us. Great for us.
Definitely.
You brought up a movie, Boogie Nights, and the timeline of that movie is 70s into the 80s.
Correct.
And two movies I want to bring up that kind of totally different movies, but same musical feel, is Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Got it.
Now, Guardians of the Galaxy is part of the Marvel universe, and if you have not seen these movies, where have you been? But these movies have all the, I remember they used to have those infomercials for those CDs or tapes, AM Gold.
Oh,
this is like the greatest hits of AM Gold.
Correct.
Hooked on a Feeling.
Yeah.
You got Spirit in the Sky. You got Come and Get Your Love. You got Cherry Bomb by the Runaways. You got Escape. We were talking earlier, before we started recording, about Rupert Holmes and Escape, the Pina Colada song.
Yeah.
Do you like pina coladas? That's the only time you hear me sing.
Getting caught in the rain.
I'm not going to sing anymore. I'm not going to do
No duets? All right,
No
fine.
duets. One of my favorite songs, and, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because, he had, what was it, the tape he had that his mom made him, Awesome Mix?
Correct. Awesome Mix 1.
Awesome Mix, and, man.
It was an awesome mix.
It was, because it's a Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, superheroes, taking place nowhere close to the era that the music is from, yet every song fits.
But when the movie started off, it was set to the 70s when they talked about, how his mom and the dad met. It was more of the 70s, and when she, spoiler, passed away, got abducted, and, passed it on to her son, it was set in the 70s. So as the movie goes on, we won't say today's date, but as it goes on, the timeline of the songs, they work. You're right. They work in whatever timeline they're in.
Yeah. So the timeline, I guess, is right, but it's not on, or it's, on other planets, other galaxies, other things, other
life forms
and stuff. It was, when you listen to the first one, and then you got Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Picks up right where it left off. Mr. Blue Sky, that whole scene at the beginning of the movie, all the characters are trying to like fend off that
like
monster and shit, and they're
correct.
all like shooting guns on
and Groot is dancing
and Groot
around.
is dancing the whole opening scene.
Yeah.
I mean, that just really sets a tone for that movie. It's great. You got Brandy, You're a Fine Girl is probably my favorite song on that second Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2 as they call it. That's probably my favorite song off of that one. I like the album from the first one a little bit better, but they both go together, and it's almost like really like a double album. They both it could be side 1, side 2.
Correct.
I mean, but they're just great.
Good stuff.
It's I mean, you all good. Like I said, it's like a greatest hits of AM Gold. And if you don't know what AM radio is, I guess you didn't grow up during the 80s.
One album I'm going to bring up, which I think is one of Chris's favorite movies, is Point Break.
Keanu Reeves that's my guy.
Right?
Him and Patrick.
Yeah. Patrick Swayze.
And they're both in the movie, so.
You know, that soundtrack was just awesome. There was a lot of good stuff on there, too. One song that I'm going to mention the most is because it's definitely one of our favorite bands is Rat. They do a song called Nobody Rides for Free. And it was not on any album. It was made for this soundtrack and ended up in their greatest hits. But I love that song. I think it's just an amazing song to it. Has a good riff, good jams. Song is good. What more can I say about it? The only thing that I do love about that soundtrack is they also have one of my favorite bands too. It's called LA Guns. They do Over the Edge. There's a song from Hollywood Vampires that they do, and that they, it's on there and it's really good. So Point Break is a fun movie. Hated the remake, but this soundtrack, this version of it with Keanu, excellent, fun, killer movie.
I have a strict rule of I don't watch any remakes, and so I didn't see the Point Break remake because I just do not want to. They're not remakes. They are redone in this like new fandangled kind of, not even relating to the old story because we're making this 20 years later. Is Keanu in it?
No.
Is Patrick in it?
No.
Is Lori Petty in it?
No.
Okay, so
to be honest, I didn't see it either.
Yeah,
I didn't. I think it was on TV once, and I tried to watch the last 10 minutes of it, but I was lost, and I just no,
not my thing. The thing about the Rat song, "No One Rides for Free," was that the first song they did after Robin Crosby passed? Because if I remember correctly, I'm thinking of the music video, and I remember distinctly saying, "Oh,
there's only
four of them playing."
So I want to say, yeah.
So that might be one of the first things they did after he passed. They had two guitar players. He was one of them. Warren DeMartini was one. Robin Crosby was the other. So I'm wondering if that's like the first thing they did after him. Killer track. I don't know if he plays on it or not. I don't know. But I remember, seeing the video and he wasn't on it, and unfortunate passing, another loss.
Right?
Maybe that's another show we need to do. I don't know. But man, that movie, you're right. That movie is one of my faves.
Yeah.
May fall just out of the top 5, but it's got my guys. It's got Keanu. It's got one of my guys. It's got Patrick, and I mean, come on, surfing.
Come on, Gary Busey. Don't lie. Gary Busey's your favorite.
Gary Busey. Surfing, sun, the beach,
adventures.
Come on, guys running around with their shirts off. I mean, you can't get any better than that, right?
I mean, no, you can't.
It's just one of those movies. It's a fun movie to watch. Love it. The soundtrack is, it is what it is. It has those 2 tracks you talked about, LA Guns and Rat, and I love it. I watch it. I try to watch it every other month. It's part of my regimen.
Every other month?
Yeah, why not?
Wow, okay.
I'm sure you got some movies. You have movies you go back to all the time?
Always.
Well, what do you got?
Always. Probably the movies that I'm talking about more. Boogie Nights, Dazed and Confused, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Fast Times. Let's talk about Fast Times. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
That's a good one. Obviously, you got the title track.
Yes.
Sammy Hagar.
Sammy.
You got that's the Sean Penn. Now, now regarded as one of the great actors of our time. Sean Penn, right? Playing Spicoli. Yeah, basically made Vans famous.
Oh, did he?
The checkerboard Vans. But man, he plays this stoner, and he's not even like a main character in the movie.
You don't think he's a main character?
No, I think he's like a side one because it's mostly
but he's on
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
He's on the poster.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't revolve around him.
No.
The stories are about six, 7, 8 people.
Yeah.
You know, Damone, Rat, Stacy, the girl.
So this soundtrack is killer. This soundtrack is killer.
No filler.
No filler. And gosh, her name escapes me. The director, was it Amy Heckerling?
Yes.
Amy Heckerling. God, it didn't escape me. I thought that was that. I didn't want to be wrong. This is a safe space. It's okay to be wrong and get corrected.
Okay, good.
So, so apparently, I don't know. She fought for a lot of these songs. I mean, I remember hearing some stuff in the past, kind of when they did some sort of Ridgemont High, anniversary kind of thing. I think it came out in 81 or 2. So this might have been in 2012 or so. I read something about the studio wanted all Eagles songs in it. There's
Really?
one Eagles. And I think it's not Eagles, but there's one Don Henley song in there, Love Rules. But she fought for all these other songs, and thank God she did, because these songs, when I hear them, I think about the movie Somebody's Baby, Jackson Brown, one of the scenes in the first half of the movie, Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, underage, with an older man, because Phoebe Cates wants her to, you go out, keep doing it, it's easier, and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, this is crazy, dude. But that's when I hear that song, I think about it, and I don't cringe when I think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, man, because it's such a good song, and it goes so well with the movie.
Definitely. Some of the other things I liked from there was We Got the Beat from the Go-Go's. That was one of those. It starts off the movie with that, and that's killer, man. There's just good stuff on there. Oingo Boingo's Goodbye, Goodbye.
Oh yeah, that plays right at the end, right? Mm-hmm. When they start saying what everybody got. Spicoli saved somebody from drowning. He spent the money having Van Halen to play his birthday party. Love it.
Moving in Stereo, The Cars.
Dude,
now, we yeah.
You may not know the song, but you know the scene.
Correct. Phoebe Cates coming out of the pool.
Yes.
Judd Reinhold in the bathroom doing some nasty business and gets walked in on. But that song, man, it's
a killer song, and I guess it's a good thing. But they have the Cars did that song, Love in Stereo. They have so many good songs that you rarely hear that one on the radio. Like every once in a while you hear it. Every time I hear it, I think about that movie scene. That movie scene was, for some young adolescent boys, the highlight of the movie. Apparently, rumor has it that old VHS, when VHS were the rentals back in the 80s, they had to continually replace those videos because young boys were pausing, rewind, slow motion, rewind, playing it over. So that part of the tape would wear out. It would be all like lines through it. You couldn't watch it clearly. I even heard, going back to that anniversary thing that I told you about before, is that apparently they had, Phoebe Cates was so paranoid about people. It had to be a closed set. Mm-hmm. It was only the camera, the director, and the actors that were there. They had people on rooftops making sure that nobody was on any rooftops, taking pictures or looking. But when it comes to movies in the 80s, that's a memorable scene. The song is memorable. The scene is memorable. The movie is memorable. It's a trifecta.
Another song from there I love is American Girl from Tom Petty.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was really good.
You can't lose with having Tom Petty on your soundtrack,
Right.
That's the beginning of the movie, where they're the thing I remember about that song is every time they have that like guitar strum at the beginning, is the character. You don't even see who it is throwing the toilet paper up on the school. It's like ring, see it going, dude. I don't know. It's just me.
One of my favorite scenes from Fast Times is when Rat's on a date and Damone tells him, "Hey, if you're gonna get in the mood, make sure you play Led Zeppelin 4, in your car." And anybody knows Led Zeppelin fan that once you play Led Zeppelin 4, Kashmir is not on that album, but it's on Physical Graffiti. But Ratner, being the geek he is, doesn't have Led Zeppelin 4. He only has Physical Graffiti, and he's playing it on there. That was a fun side note from the movie that I heard was purposely done for that, just to make a joke and stuff.
Yeah, his character was so nervous. He had no idea what he was doing. And it's kind of funny I watched that movie last night, and if you watch in that scene that you're leading off with, when they're on their date, if you watch, they just show how little they are. Like the restaurant they're in have these big high back chairs. It's like this bistro kind of thing. Like it's German, they're ordering knockwurst. So it's this German sausage restaurant. And you look at the adults on the table next to them, and their heads are up to the top of the chair. And then you look at them, and they're like 1.5 feet, 2 feet from the top of the chair. It just shows, just how, they're kids. They don't know what music they're listening to, with what you're talking about with the Led Zeppelin. But man, everything on that album is great. And everything with that movie is great. And I love it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, definitely good on that one. Next movie I want to bring up, just a good fun one, Beverly Hills Cop.
I love Beverly Hills
Cop,
dude.
Eddie Murphy.
I think it's the best movie he's done.
Okay. Even better than 48 Hours?
Better than 48 Hours.
Problem Child?
Problem Child? That was John Ritter. You mean Golden Child?
Oh, sorry. Golden Child. Oops.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy was the kid in Problem Child.
Sorry.
What a great makeup job. They couldn't even tell it was him.
Oops. Wrong notes.
Turn the page.
Turn the page. The song I'm talking about is called Axel F.
Oh, yeah.
Instrumental, but if you hear it, you know yeah, exactly. You'll know that song once you hear it. It's from Beverly Hills Cop. Good stuff.
Yeah, I remember hearing that was actually one of those rare times you heard an instrumental. 2 songs I remember hearing instrumentals in that time was that one, Axel F, and the Miami Vice theme song. Those were like the only kind of instrumentals you really heard at that time on, and they're similar because I think they're both done by Jan Hammer, if I remember correctly. But man, that song plays throughout the movie.
Right.
Like little softer here when he's sneaking around the warehouse, when he's doing this, doing that. It's almost like there's always like a little bit of background music through the whole movie, and it's always that song, which is great. Dude, that movie is hilarious to me. I mean, I think it's Eddie Murphy's best movie. I laugh out loud whenever I watch that movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if you remember, but that opening scene, the cigarette. Remember he's trying to sell the cigarettes. There was another great song, the Neutron Dance by the Pointer Sisters. Driving through the crashing and all that kind of stuff. That song just goes great right there with that one.
Another good one.
Good one. And then what's the there was what's the theme song for that movie? It played right with the opening credits. Was that the one that had Bob Seger, or was that part 2?
It might have been
Shakedown, Breakdown. Oh, that was number 2.
That was part 2.
That was part 2. That's a good jam right there. Yeah, I remember that one. Oh, the one from the first one was like Glenn Frey or something like that. Is Glenn Frey or Don Henley? God, I can't remember the song. I should have looked it up before we did our podcast.
You can say Glenn Frey.
Was it Glenn Frey? I don't remember. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. The heat is on. It was Glenn Frey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Glenn Frey. Yeah, that was the name of the song. That's another great one too, right there, dude.
Were you just singing again?
Yeah, I was singing again.
I thought you said I'm not singing anymore on this podcast. And whoa, you lied.
Yeah, dude, you know, I'm always breaking the rules, breaking the law. I love that movie. You know, you're right. The songs in that movie are great. When I hear them, I think about the movie. In my opinion, Eddie Murphy's greatest movie. I think it was uphill to get to that movie, and then everything else was kind of, I mean, Daddy Daycare, Dr. Dolittle, cringy.
Yeah. Coming to America? That was a good one, though.
Yeah, Coming to America was the only, it was like 1A. It had 1 and 1A. And I definitely am a fan of that one, too. I know that it looks like we may have to go for a part 3 here.
All right.
But let's for right now, let's go ahead and let's throw out another one each and kind of talk about them. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about one of. I told you he was coming back, guys. I told you he was coming back. We're gonna do some more Tom Cruise.
All right. Tommy Cruise.
Tommy Cruise, and we're gonna talk about Top Gun.
Oh.
We're gonna talk about the Danger Zone.
Right.
What a great, fun movie. I remember when that movie came out, it was the buzz. Everybody wanted to see it. He had just done, I think he'd done like Risky Business. I think he had done All the Right Moves, those kind of movies. So this was like the big studio blockbuster movie that's going to come out. I had the poster in my room, him and Kelly McGillis. She was looking hot. He was looking like a stud. Jet fighter airplanes. Val Kilmer, Iceman. Amazing, dude. I can't say enough about the movie just by itself, but...
Is this top 5? Because you're talking about it like top 5.
It's top 10. Top 10. Right. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Are you
I
really?
hope I'm not disappointed.
It's a remake.
It's not a remake.
It's a remake.
It's a sequel.
It's a remake.
Anyways, this soundtrack's killer. Danger Zone. Take My Breath Away. One of those. I mean, it seems like every time Kenny Loggins does a soundtrack, he never only has one song. He's got multiple songs.
Oh,
Playing with the Boys.
right.
Probably one of the most underlying big scenes in the movie, the volleyball scene.
Okay.
We're rough. We're tough. We have our shirts off. We're wearing jeans. We're sweaty. Look at us play volleyball.
We got sunglasses on.
We got sunglasses on.
My hair doesn't move.
We're flexing a little bit. I mean, love it, dude. It just goes with the times. But yeah, Danger Zone, like I had said, Playing with the Boys, Take My Breath Away. Another one that I don't ever remember hearing it on the radio, but there was the guitar theme. It was played by Steve Stevens, who was Billy Idol's guitar player with him, and I think the time it plays throughout the movie. It's kind of like the one we just talked about with Beverly Hills Cop, the Axel F song. The Top Gun instrumental theme plays throughout a little bit, and you hear it, but you really hear it kind of crescendo when he throws Goose's dog tag, spoiler, off the ship at the end, and kind of just goes off, and you're like, I mean, I'm not crying, but I'm like, oh, you're like, you're
crying. No tear? Cheer it up.
One tear.
One tear.
One tear.
All right.
I mean, anytime you see someone's best friend, pass, it's hard.
It is.
Meg Ryan's in that movie. Like I said, Val Kilmer. Anthony Edwards plays Goose.
Oh,
was it Bob Saget? Was that his name? Bob Saget, that plays the instructor, the main instructor at Top Gun.
I think that's his name.
And then Mike Ironside, I think, was the other instructor.
Yes.
Also, I'm just saying it off the top of my head. I'm
He's
thinking
tough.
he is tough.
Yeah.
He's too tough. But man, that soundtrack goes perfectly. It fits like a hand in a glove. It's great. I mean, Kenny Loggins, the king of soundtracks during the 80s. Everything he touched. God, we want to bring this movie from here to here. Get Kenny Loggins to write a song for it, and you're gonna take it to a whole nother level. I know you love that movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Top Gun's good. I was working in the movie theater at the time, and when it was released, so I got to see it every once in a while. I would go in and check the kids that are making out and stuff. But then I got a chance to sit down and watch it, head to toe, and it was killer, man. I mean, loved it.
You got anything else you want to talk about before
One more. I got a good one.
I think we can. Can we hold on? Can we squeeze it in? Go ahead. Yeah, they're telling us we got a couple more minutes. Go ahead. We can squeeze it in.
I want to bring a movie up from the 70s. John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever. Come on, the Bee Gees, they ruled in the double album in the 70s. The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Don't tell me it's over your head.
It's not over my head. I just was never a fan of that type of music. Just sorry. I don't know what to say.
You've seen the movie.
I've seen the movie.
You've seen the strut from Staying Alive.
Seen the strut.
And they're doing the strut, dude, with the paint and all that good stuff. All right, good.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's John Travolta. No one struts like that. You don't even need to see who it is. Shins and Feet. You know who it is, right?
How Deep Is Your Love is another song from that.
All right, you're getting there. You're getting there with me.
Night Fever.
Night Fever. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And More Than a Woman to do the little ballad love song romantic scene of the movie.
Now that's one of the best-selling soundtracks of all time.
I think so.
Maybe Bodyguard probably number one. I think, but it's right there. It's right there, and that Stratosphere, dude.
That was great.
That album. Do you think that album would have stood alone on its own? Do you think it was that good that it was without the movie, or do you think they both needed each other to go stratospheric, or do you think that
they both needed each other for that? Because you hear the songs, but then you see the scenes that they put them in, and the dancing. Come on, Staying Alive, doing the strut. Nobody does that better. I mean, come on, people mock it today. How Deep Is Your Love, same thing. Night Fever on the floor, dancing with the lights and the flashing and the polyester and swinging of the hips and stuff.
We talk a lot about like the 80s. It's kind of like our
70s.
That's in our pocket. That's our pocket for music and movies. But then we always say, oh, this encapsulated that time. We said that a lot. But what you're talking about, this movie and the soundtrack encapsulated a time. It showed a snapshot of that time, what was going on in pop culture, what was going on in that time with the disco, the movie, the dancing, all that stuff. It's like it fit. It was perfect time, perfect songs, perfect movie, perfect actors. Just one of those moments that just you look back, you're like, God, everything was perfect.
Definitely.
I just it just didn't hit it for me. Maybe I need to go back and listen to it.
See the movie. You don't have to listen to the soundtrack.
So just the movie. Don't need to.
Just the movie.
Because the soundtrack's not going to do it for me. You already know me.
Yeah.
I have to watch a little Johnny T. All right, guys. We're getting close up against it. We're gonna have to go to a part 3, I think, on this. And lucky you guys. You're gonna benefit from our long-winded conversations. And
exactly.
Man, we still got so much more we want to talk about. And just to tease you, I got some more John Hughes coming up. I got some more Kenny Loggins coming up. I got a movie about a guy that's European, sings, and has a big old mouth.
Footloose. No? All right.
Two different things.
All right, guys. See you next episode.
All right, guys. Later.